In this video, I shall talk you through the first part of the assessment task on modelling Newton's second law. I'll leave it to you to read through the detailed information, but I will just point out a few things to get you started. So if we look at Newton's second law equation, force equals mass times acceleration, we want to be able to determine the relationship between these variables. And we are going to look at how force and mass relate to acceleration. So if I rewrite this like so, we can say that the acceleration is directly proportional to the force and it is inversely proportional to the mass. So if we were to collect our data, in the first part, we're going to have acceleration versus force, and we should get a linear relationship. And from the graph, we get a gradient we can see is acceleration over force. But if I go back to the equation and rewrite that, so in this form, so y equals a times x. We've got no y-intercept, so that is 0. So we're just worried about this part. So we know the acceleration's on the y-axis. The force is on the x-axis, so acceleration is y, force is x. And if we come back to the equation, the gradient must be 1 over the mass. So therefore, if the gradient equals 1 over mass, then the mass will be 1 over the gradient. Okay, and that's something you can come back to and check later. So this essentially is part A. So part B is looking at this relationship. Now, if we plotted acceleration versus the mass, it's an inverse relationship. So our plot will look like so. And we don't, in physics, we like to have a linear graph. So we need to rephrase this relationship. So this relationship is saying acceleration is inversely proportional to mass. But we want to rephrase it and say acceleration is directly proportional to 1 over the mass. So that means when we go to graph it, instead of just plotting it against the mass, we plot it against 1 over the mass. So it means in our table, we need to create another column and modify or process our data so to equal 1 over the mass. And then we can plot that and we get this relationship here. So you can have a go at working out what the gradient should represent. Okay, so to part A, acceleration versus force, or the accelerating force. Before we go into that, let's just have a look at the experimental setup. We have a glider on a frictionless track. It's connected to a string which is connected to a mass which will apply a downward force, and it's called the hanging mass. At the moment there's nothing on it, so if I change that and make it 20 grams downwards, and I'll leave the system mass at 400. What do we mean by the system mass? That is the mass of everything that's moving, including this downward, the hanging mass. So it's the mass of the glider, the string, and the hanging mass. The hanging mass is what provides the accelerating force. Well, firstly, let's have a look at what tools we have available to us. So we have a ruler and we have a stopwatch. Okay, so we have a starting position of the glider and we have a stopwatch. So we will be measuring measuring the time it takes to go over a certain distance. So I'll just run it and show you, for example. Over here we have a ribbon and it's going to be cut with some scissors here. So we don't start timing until the ribbon's cut. And there it is. Okay, so I can use these tools to just back it up to that point where the ribbon just breaks. Okay, so I'd say here, and then I'm going to reset my timer, and I want to see, we've already worked it out, so we're going to run it over a distance of 25 centimeters because this only has a certain distance before it hits here. So we'll run it for over 25 centimeters. So I can run it, there it goes, the timer's on, and again I can stop it, and I've gone over 25, so again I'm going to just back it up and line it up. So I had it lined up at the front of where this silver part is, so I think it's about there. Okay, so it's covering 25 centimeters in 1.0083 seconds. Okay, so how are we going to use that data? Okay, so I've just done a quick sketch. As I stated, we've got 20 grams of this hanging mass. So I've converted that to kilograms, so 0.02 kilograms. It's going to experience a force due to gravity of 9.8 newtons for every kilogram. So that will give us 0.196 newtons of accelerating force downwards. So that's the force that's going to accelerate the glider. Now the glider is initially at rest, so its initial velocity is 0. As I said, we're going to measure the time it takes to cover 25 centimeters, and we can use one of the Suvat equations or equations of motion to calculate the acceleration of the glider. So recall we have these three equations. Now I'm just going to quickly eliminate some. We can't use this one. We do know the time, we do know the initial velocity, but we don't know the final velocity. So we can't use this one to determine acceleration. This one doesn't offer us time, plus we don't know final velocity, so this equation is no good to us. So this is our starting equation that we're going to use to determine from the displacement and the time and knowing the initial velocity what the acceleration is due to this accelerating force. So if I simplify this one, because u is 0, then this goes to 0. So then I'm left with the displacement equals half times the acceleration multiplied by the time squared. Now if I rearrange this to find acceleration, I need to multiply both sides by 2, and then I want the acceleration on the left side, so it means I'm going to have to divide 2 times displacement divided by time squared and put that on this side. So that's the equation I can use to find the acceleration. So we're going to plot then the acceleration against the accelerating force for a constant moving mass. So remember, we're going to have a graph. Acceleration against the accelerating force will give us a straight line, and that gradient is actually 1 over the system mass. Okay, so how do we do that? So let's go down to where we will be doing the data collection, because I want to show you how to collect the data, how to set up the table, and how to do the graphing. But you can work through some of these parts as well on your own. Okay, so the first thing we are collecting, we worked out, was we're changing the hanging mass So that's our first column, hanging mass. It's in units. Well, we collect it in grams, but we'll have to convert grams to kilograms. And the variable is just we'll call it mass and give it that's supposed to be our subscript for hanging. All right, we need to, as we saw, multiply the hanging mass by the gravitational field strength of 9.8. But we also have to make sure we divide grams by 1,000 to convert it to kilograms and then multiply it by 9.8. So this is our accelerating force. It's in units of Newton and we'll just call it F, force. Okay, so we need to add another column. And here, because what we were doing is measuring distance and time, so we'll call it displacement, and it's actually the horizontal displacement of the glider. The units are, we measure in centimetres, but that needs to be converted to metres, and we'll call it, the symbol for displacement is S, but we'll just leave it at that. We have another column. This is where we put our time. So times in seconds, and our variable name is T for time. So we use these two to determine the acceleration of the glider, of the moving mass. Okay, so acceleration of the glider. Units will be meters per second. The variable we give the lowercase a, and it's acceleration in the horizontal. Okay, so we need to, okay, so I'm just going to put in the first value of 20 grams for the hanging mass. I'm going to calculate, so I need to click on these little three dots, go change column formula. I need my hanging mass, which I will divide by 1,000 to convert it into kilograms, and then I want to multiply it, so that's the asterisk. So remember, division is the /, multiplication is the asterisk, and then I can't use my keyboard, I have to actually click these buttons, 9.8. And then there is a submit below, so I'll click submit, and as I showed on the whiteboard, it should be 0.196 newtons. So the displacement is, it's going to be 25 every time, because I'm just going to use 25 to measure the displacement every time. The time is whatever we recorded, so that was 1.0083. 1.0083. Okay, now I use my formula, and my formula, recall, was acceleration equals 2 times displacement divided by time squared. Okay, so 3 dots, change column formula. Got to be careful here because you make a mistake, you have to repeat. So acceleration equals 2 times the displacement divided by the time squared. So we use this little hat symbol and then type 2 next to it. And again, I need to press the submit button and it will put the formula here. Except what I forgot to do was convert displacement from centimeters into meters, so I need to do that again. So I've got to cancel. So I need 2 times displacement is in centimeters, so I need to divide that by 100 to get meters. Then I need to divide by the time squared. That makes more sense. Okay, we'll just do one more bit of data before we do the graphing. So I'll come back here and make sure I've selected the next hanging mass of 40 grams. So I've got to make sure these are both ticked, and then I press load, and then I repeat. So again, as soon as that ribbon is cut, I set the timer back to 0, I run it, and I get the front of the cart or the glider just on 25 centimeters to there. So 25 centimeters, 0.7167. So 40 grams. It calculates my accelerating force for me. I repeat, it's 25 centimeters. That'll be the same all the way through. Then it's a faster time. So it takes less time to cover the same distance. And then it'll calculate my acceleration. So I've got two bits of data here, so I can do my graph, but you will go on and do 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 grams for hanging mass and so on. Okay, so I simply have to accelerating force, so force is on the x-axis and the y-axis is my acceleration. That's accelerations on the y-axis for both part A and part B. So I'll go done, and then I'll go to here, and if it's not on the origin, I want to make sure it says, I've already selected that before. So if I go include origin, it'll make sure it starts at 0 on both axes, and then I want a curve fit, so it's always a scatter graph, and on a curve fit or a trend line, we know it's proportional, so we pick the y equals ax. So when we scroll down below the graph, we can see it's given us the formula. So acceleration equals the gradient, which is capital A, times the force. And the gradient has the value of 2.49. And recall here, we said that the gradient is 1 over the mass. So therefore the mass is 1 over the gradient, which equals 1 over 2.49, which equals 0.4016, close enough to 0.402. And our mass of the system, or system mass, that we set at the start was 400 grams, or 0.400 kilograms. So that's very close. So we can say that that is very accurate. Okay, so we'll leave it there. As I said, read through all of this information, play around with this to start with, try and work it out, follow the instructions, and then you're actually going to have a go at answering some of these questions. Don't worry if you're not sure, because then I have access to all your work and I can go in and I can give you feedback to help you improve your responses before you submit them. Okay, as long as you're doing this in plenty of time and not leaving it to the last minute. Okay, so question 2, again, all of these questions have hints, which are actually the marking guide. Hints, and this one gives us a hint as well for what to put for the headings. So just keep working through these questions, checking the marking criteria, and then you can have a go after that at part B, which is the other relationship.